This week on Fade to Obsidian, we will be discussing Golden Sun chapters 25 to 39. We recommend that you have also read the book to avoid spoilers. Please be aware that this episode contains discussions about violence and death, as well as strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
If your heart is filled with ships and your fave is all alone, grab your saddest drink to sip and listen to FTO.
Alright, who's doing opener? Me or you? I did last week.
Me. Yeah.
Okay. We don't need to go back and forth, but I did last week.
No, we don't, but... Okay, now that we've got the arguing for who's going to do today's introduction out of the way, welcome to this week's episode of Fade to Obsidian. I am Crescent, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Skipper.
Hey!
And today we have Rocket joining us. Hello, Rocket.
Hello, everybody.
Rocket, who are you? Why are you Rocket, and what are you drinking tonight?
I am Rocket, because in our Howler introductions, we were asked for, give us a funny story. So I told the story about how I grew up in like a ski resort in the Northern California mountains, where we have a lot of wildlife, frequently around our house, on our porch, in our yard, across the street, including bears. And one night, like senior year of high school, our dog starts going crazy, and my mom and I are like, great, there's a bear, it's out the dumpster, it's going to make a mess. Nobody wants to clean it up tomorrow. So I said, okay, hold on, I've got this. So I went to the fridge and I got a can of Coke, and I shook it up. And I walked outside into our driveway, and I lobbed it across the street at the bear. And when the can hit the ground, the tab shot out, and the can shot up like a hit and hit the bear right in the ass,
Nice.
which made the bear run off. And then my mom and I laughed for like an hour.
But it was
So I told
effective.
It was effective. The bear came back the next night, or 2 nights later, something like that. So I was like, okay, obviously has not learned its lesson. Went out, did the same thing. This time, the can did not shoot up. It, like, skipped along the pavement behind the bear, chasing it.
Nice.
And the bear was doing this, like, running but, like, looking back thing, and then, like, got faster and faster because it was scared of the can of Coke chasing after it. So I told these stories. Salem thought it was hilarious, but Crescent is the one who actually picked the word rocket out of that and gave it to me.
Nice.
Bottle Rocket.
So that is why I am Rocket. For now, my first drink tonight. It does not have a name as of yet. Maybe we'll think of something.
I was going to say, sounds like a perfect opportunity to name it.
It sounds like a good opportunity. So this is white cranberry juice with pineapple vodka, a little bit of triple sec, and some lime juice.
Okay.
It basically tastes like a drunken white gummy bear.
Nice.
I suppose that could be a name for it. But if we think of something, Red Rising, I'll take that. And
is it one of Sophocles' jelly beans?
Sophocles jelly beans.
Sophocles jelly beans.
Look how fast that was.
This is why he names everybody.
Over.
This is why he's the one. He named me. He's named you. He's naming the drinks. He named Fade to Obsidian.
Right.
This is why Crescent names things. He is the.
I feel like I need to add.
I name things and I know things.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I feel like I need to add something red to it though to be foxy.
I'll send you some glitter.
Now we're talking. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
Excellent.
So the other question is, how did you find Red Rising? How did this come to your life?
Okay. I promised this story too. So I first heard about it summer of 2015. Working, so I was in grad school and working over the summer in our cafeteria, and one of my coworkers and I like immediately connected on all the geeky things. So Star Wars. This was like 2015, so this was like, I don't know, season 5 or something of Game of Thrones. So like Game of Thrones at its heyday. So Monday morning was us just being like, just having. And so he was like, okay, I have a series for you.
Yeah.
And so he told me about Red Rising and gave me kind of just like the briefest overview of like, here's like the society, people are divided up into these different colors, stories about this one guy who's a red on the bottom and how he kind of rises to the top. And I was just like, great, love it. Here for it. This is, and he's like, also they have swords and there are Vikings in space. And I was just like, I'm sold.
What else do you need?
Fantastic. I'm sold. The problem is that summer I had just restarted reading the Dark Tower series, which is behind me on my shelf too. And that's a long series. So I was like, okay, as soon as I'm done with that, we'll do that. So fast forward to December 2015. I had to look up the dates because I was like, I think it's got to be around here, but I wanted to make sure because I know that Morningstar, I think, came out February or early March of 2016.
February 2016, yeah.
So yeah. So I looked back and in the process of looking back, I unlocked the memory of first reading these. And that semester, I was taking 15 or 16 units of classes, which meant that December, I had to write like 90 pages of like academic writing. This is not fun writing. This is purely academic, like for like my master's degree stuff. And so, of course, that's when I decide, hey, you know what would be good for taking little breaks? Reading Red Rising. Let's go for it. Why not? Both a horrible mistake and a fantastic decision. Because even in Red Rising, I figured out, hey, this book is like stressful. And every time I read, it gives me a little bit of an adrenaline boost. So I started to like read. I would read a little bit at a time, let the books work me up, and then I would go and write and do my work. This got me through most of the month.
So it's like caffeine.
But then
you were using Red Rising instead of caffeine, basically.
Oh no, I was using both.
You're using both, Rising, but it's like a stimulator.
Stronger caffeine.
Yes.
Stronger caffeine.
On top of the caffeine, yes. Which, I mean, it worked great.
Yeah.
So the semester ends. I'm still not done because I needed extensions because 90 pages of writing. I flew back from New Jersey, where I was at school, came home to California to my parents for Christmas. By that point, I was on Golden Sun. I had to put Golden Sun in my checked bag so I wouldn't read it on the plane. Because if I had, I would not have written, and that would have been bad. And so I get to my last day of, like, the rest of my stuff is due. I still have like 10 pages to finish. And my brain at this point is just mush because it's been a whole month of nonstop writing and work. And I said, okay, this method has been working great so far. I'm going to have my last little like reading break this morning. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock, noon. I'm going to read just a little bit more. I kind of flipped ahead a few pages. I was like, oh, great. The end of a section is in not very long. So that's a perfect place to stop. I'll read, I'll stop, I'll finish all of my work, and then I'll probably finish Golden Sun tomorrow.
Yeah.
That section is the end of the section that we're talking about tonight.
Oh no!
Oh no, indeed. So we get through the Iron Rain, and that's when we all start dying, and I'm just like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I done? So I now have to put the book away and go write for the rest of the day. And it was like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I just finish the book? How fast can I write? What do I do? And I put the book like in the living room, and then went back and wrote. And every like 15 minutes, I would just be like, because I'm like so stressed out about that last sentence. I finished all of my stuff very early. And that's the story. So this section of Golden Sun got me through my hardest semester of grad school.
Wow.
Damn, that is
and
that's a story you should tell Pierce.
Yeah.
I should. I really should.
I feel like he would heavily appreciate that.
He would also just laugh at me because he's a little bit of a sadistic bastard, and we love him for it.
We love him for it, but yes, he likes seeing our pain. We know
he does. Yes. So anyway, that is my long extended story of how I got into Red Rising.
Nice.
And then specifically, purely by chance now that I'm talking about this section with that story.
Yeah.
Because then, then I only had to wait about 2 months for Morningstar, which is better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then I read it in 3 days. Still in grad school.
Yeah.
Which means that I ignored several classes worth of reading that week. Because priorities. And that's just how that went.
Yeah, of course. I love it. Nice.
So there we go.
Yeah. That is great. Well, yeah, so the section we're talking about, we haven't even said 20 chapters, 25 to 39.
25 to 39, yep. Yeah.
Which is a big chunk.
It's a big chunk.
I think this is the most chapters we have had to deal with at one time on this podcast.
It's about a quarter of this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because it's the entirety of part 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the only other one that was close was the first section.
Right.
Oh yeah, that was 1 to 14.
That one's 13 chapters, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is the same. But yeah, we've got a bunch to tackle. There's a few big, we said 3 big plot points that we'll go over, as well as this one is a lot of one little relationship-y thing, but a lot of friendship. Like, we're seeing a lot in this of relationships in just terms of humans talking to humans, if you will, not necessarily using it in the, dating way, but just
or the
overall.
actual friendly way.
Yeah, that's true. These are not all friendly.
Yeah.
The devolution from friends to frenemies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's
we'll get there.
We'll jump right in.
Yeah.
Where are we even starting with this? So we've just finished up breakfast, bacon and eggs and all of that, and now we're heading... Is the first part heading to Europa?
Yeah, so...
you guys have the notes. They have extensive notes, and let me just right now say, I am behind and I'm actually on chapter 37, so I'm going to be dealing with the last 2 chapters purely off 4-year-old memories. But it's fine. We're fine.
It's all good. So the next morning is it's the war council before they split off to go off and do their own things. So
yeah.
So there's
Nero.
There's like four kind of like main things that I found really like that I just really enjoyed. So like right off the hop, Mustang is late to the meeting.
Love it.
And it's just being a huge brat, and I love it because she's just trying to fuck with Nero.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that is peak Mustang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. With her apple.
With her apple, her boots on the table.
And people are just flinching.
Yeah.
But there is a
Pliny suggesting... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a huge part about Pliny and the horizontal diplomacy.
Hold. That's like...
is that
that's
later?
in like chapter 33.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the wrong.
There's two meetings. Section, yeah. You're right. This one she just is kind of told to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, Pliny kind of insinuates that Darrow should have tried to kill Octavia. And anyone who is anyone knows that there's exactly 0% chance of that happening with Aja. I have said it wrong 7 times. Aja is in the room.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, Pliny.
No,
you idiot.
Yeah.
And also,
which is just like
Fictioner. These are 2 Olympic nights.
Exactly.
It's 2 Olympic nights plus like a bit of an audience. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance of that happening.
Yeah.
We kind of get our first real introduction to Cavix.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's very much a man of opposites. Is a big thing that I notice. He goes from like yelling about this pixie shit chafes my balls, and then instantly flips to being like really sweet to Sophocles, and then flips right back.
That's my favorite, because Sophocles, we had the discussion earlier about how Sophocles clearly, like, during battles, like, we don't really see where Sophocles is, but
it's just around.
So must be just usual, like, I'm done with, like, I'm used to it. But then in this, we see that Sophocles flinches when he gets too angry, and he has to, like, apologize, because he's like, Sophocles gets anxious around Cavix. So Sophocles clearly isn't actually used to it.
Right.
Like, what is happening?
I mean, does Cavix have, like, because we know that their armor can kind of like move around, like their helmets fold in, do all of this stuff. Do we think that Cavix has like special like Sophocles backpack?
Those like people who have their cats in their like the round backpack, like, that they can see everything.
The baby Bjorn,
a baby Bjorn, but like Sophocles is out. So it's, it's like a Yoda, baby Yoda situation. Yeah. Sophocles, yeah.
Yep.
That's what I'm getting from this.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. But he's bigger than a normal fox. He's like dog size.
He's wolf size. Yeah, he's wolf size.
Very large dog size. Like he's 35 kilograms.
That's right. Okay. So like, and even among these like giant people, I mean, like the equivalent would be like me carrying a golden retriever.
Yeah.
In my baby Bjorn, into battle.
Yeah. Yeah. But
and,
again,
I mean, maybe
and keeps flinching when he yells.
Right.
Poor Sophocles. And Sophocles' diet of being basically sugar, also worrisome.
Right.
Does eat a few things with the chicken and stuff, but basically,
right.
Like, I don't know if we should be giving dogs or wolves
or
foxes sugar.
They probably feed him bologna eagle.
Ooh.
Get your poultry on.
Yep.
Stop, please. And you know, you're saying he's a man of opposites, where he's also like he immediately jumps to Mustang's honors. He's like, "You will not speak ill of my favorite person in the room."
Yes.
Yeah.
But he also respects her boundaries, because when she says, "No, no, hold on, I got this," he's
Yeah.
just like, "Okay, cool, okay,"
Yeah.
and we love him for it.
Well, that's it. Through all of this,
We
we
love him
kind of
for it.
see him versus Nero, and Nero is very
Yeah.
much the patriarchy, and the women, like, kind of excludes them. We see that time again, especially with how he treats Victra and Mustang, in comparison to Cavix, is very much the, like, don't worry, I'll send the women to fight at, like, some point of, like, it's okay. Like, I gotta just call my daughter. She'll take care of it. It's good.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's the best. Cavix is so great.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
was actually somewhat mistaken. This is the meeting with horizontal diplomacy, but it is in the next chapter.
Okay.
So
So
half a point to you and half a point to me. But I knew it was
do we have to
in
count my
this.
points?
Yeah, because you're so far you've gotten one wrong. So now you've gotten half of one wrong. So you're down 1.5.
I've got it here.
Our point system.
I've got.
But anyway, yeah, because we do see, because that's the whole thing, is she comes in and they're like, first off, stop acting like a child, and then after that they like attack her for sleeping with Cassius, and you see this whole other side of like, you're sleeping with the enemy, you're doing, and like, I get it, like what it looks like is not the best, but at the same time, like, don't come after her for that. And the like horizontal,
Yeah, it's like she
it's
was
the
literally
horizontal
trying to save all your worthless fucking lives.
yeah. And so like she did what she needed to do, like,
Right. Well, and she played it the same way that she did with the Darrow conversation at breakfast of like, can you understand like how hurt I was when you went off to the academy? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And she's like, fuck that, no.
Yeah.
So she's like, she let them talk and assume not quite the same thing, but kind of the same flavor of like, oh no, she's just went after this like pretty dude, and Fred relates to the enemy, and she's like, no, go on. Here's why I was actually on Luna in the first place. So
yeah,
y'all can just look like the idiots you are.
Yeah.
Crunch.
Yeah. So yeah, Darrow and Mustang are basically just playing the room like they're not in total agreement. And and then Pliny basically agrees with one side of the argument, and then they flip on him, and it's just fuck you, Pliny.
Yeah.
Right.
You just gotta
Why would you think that?
Well together.
And
yep.
Yeah.
And
they
then
work so well together. And it happens without them like having like
it's like
plan. They know each other.
They haven't had this
so
conversation.
Well. It's great. I love it.
This is jumping quite a few chapters, but just to tie it in, when they do it again later, and they're just clearly like going back and forth, and it's when Lauren's there, and is like, what?
Like,
and
Severo
makes the comment of like, you're not going crazy, like
right.
they're just weird or something.
Weird. It literally just happened.
Like, they're like, but you were here for it. Like, what? And Severo's like, yeah, they're just weird.
Right.
Like, they just get each other. They're in each other's heads, which is like the perfect partnership. That's what you want to see in any kind of a partnership. Yeah.
Again, Cassius could never. Cassius
could not keep up.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think kind of there's a real juxtaposition between Nero and Cavix, where like Nero literally just tells Mustang, stop being a sideshow whore, and Kavix like almost attacks him.
Yeah.
Like, but then Mustang's just like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
And
Kavix respects that of like, okay, if she says she's
yeah,
got it, she's got it.
And boy howdy does she ever.
Yeah. As I said before, Kavix is the stepdad that stepped up.
Yes.
Yep.
Kavix obeys Nero, but he respects Mustang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He would have declared for her right then and there. She'd been like, Kavix, away with him. Been like, okay, done. Like, here.
Yeah, you got it.
Hold my thoughts. And then
this is like the most brutal, like, deconstruction of Pliny.
Just my God.
I can defend my own honor, my goodman. But from Pliny, such insults are to be expected. After all, I would be bitter too if my wife bent over backward to make sure so many of our young mercenaries learned how to properly sheathe their swords. And it's just like, oh my God, you are my queen.
Love her for it. We love her for it.
First time I read that, I dropped the bar.
Hands up, cheering, yes.
Yep.
I mean, spoiling our own section just a little bit.
Yep.
Technically, this is only the second most comprehensive deconstructing of Pliny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We'll get there. Yeah.
We'll get there. But yes, you knock him down enough pegs first, and then they got him to agree with them. And then they're like, wonderful, so now we have our war plan. Thank you, Pliny.
Yeah. So yeah, and then after the meeting, we get Nero and Darrow talking, and Nero basically accusing Darrow of being a reformer.
Right. Mm-hmm. A Democrat. You're not a Democrat, are you?
Right.
Yeah, and he's trying to get Darrow to break and like give himself away. And Darrow literally says, "Good luck with that."
Yeah.
Right. Like Darrow's like, I literally just had this like exact same conversation with Octavia, with the giant pit viper scorpion thing on my arm, and Aja listening to my heartbeat. Like some freaky EKG night. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
But it does bring up a good point of you still see, and it's interesting the difference between, let's say at that point, Nero and Mustang. That Mustang we can see is kind of coming around to
just cluing it,
not because of Darrow, but because of the research and stuff that she's done.
Right.
Of almost equality. I wouldn't quite call what she was talking equality, but she's almost there, even though clearly Nero is, you keep the pyramid. The pyramid is there.
Right.
Do not fuck with this. Rather than you can see the...
I would call Mustang a reformer.
Yeah, but she's not... I mean, I'm just saying she's not...
Maybe not maybe not all the way.
Yeah, but she's understanding.
She definitely has...
it.
She's reformer leaning. For sure.
Yes.
She's got a little bit of biological essentialism going at this point. Mm-hmm. Because it was all the genetic stuff, and she's like, no, we are objectively different. And so she hasn't quite gotten to the social piece yet, but
she's heading there.
Rapidly.
In comparison to Nero is this is what it is, and never, why, never. And no.
Yeah. And no.
And no.
And yes, exactly. Exactly. But just but also just this scene again of this is the guy who killed Darrow's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And was just the line. What was the line? Silence the bitch, or something like that. It was along those lines, where it's just so wholly dismissive of the song. I mean, honestly, didn't even think anything of EO, but especially the song was ooh. And Darrow is still just like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang the rusty bitch lest she continue to howl.
Thank you. And Darrow is still not just like strangling him every time he is alone with him.
Yeah, like that is.
Yeah, that's some Titanic willpower.
Yes. Yeah. Every time I get to scenes like this, I'm just like, man.
How is he doing it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we find out that Nero wants Lorne, but Darrow's figured it out before he even asks.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, he won't come for me, but he might come to help you.
Right.
Yeah.
Also incorrect.
Yeah.
As we get to.
As we get to. Take some forcing.
Yeah.
All right.
So then we move into just basically the outside of the war room, or outside of Nero's room. He talks. He comes out and the Telemanuses are there.
Yeah.
And so we actually get like our first Darrow Telemanus interaction, and he talks about how he's been avoiding them because of letting Pax die, and they're like, we don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's
which is
that rat Adrius. Like,
yeah, someone brought up during Out of Context that it's the first time he hears that he is not responsible for a death. Like, there's obviously deaths that have happened that nobody like figured to bring it up, but up to this point he's blamed for Quinn's death, for Leah's death, for like it's death that like, well, you caused this. And this is the first time, and especially it coming from not his friends but the actual like family of the person being like, this is not your fault, you did not do this. Like this, like that's huge. Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
in my notes, I just wrote Telemanus love.
Telemanus love. Yeah, it's so
like,
much.
It's a large love.
It's a large love, always.
Well, and we get to see the fun part of Cavix. I think this is where we learn of like, the jelly beans comes in this, and hiding jelly beans, and how Daxo kind of and like takes advantage of Cavix of like, I know how this is gonna go. I know what it is. Like, let's find some jelly beans, and the whole like magic. Does he actually believe in magic? And it's like, I just love that. Like, he's just he's a big kid, or he's everybody's grandpa. Like, people know that, like, that older guy that just like wants to make life more fun for everybody else, and that's what we get out of Cavix.
Yeah,
I just love him so much.
What's life in war without a little whimsy?
Exactly. Like, why not? Yeah. So. Yeah, like, he's a full, basically, warlord, but, like, why not just believe in magic and that your fox is leading the way? Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
And then
we get the, jumping ahead a bit, this is the section where, several whispers in.
Yes. We'll get that later.
Right? Okay, we'll get to that. Okay.
I
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I have an idea for that. We'll get to it.
Okay.
I want to... Again, Pierce is just so great. Just this very short chapter bookended with, here's the first time Darrow is not blamed for a death. Here's the first time Darrow is with Rogue. And he tries to apologize, and Rogue blows him off.
Yeah.
Completely. Won't even listen. And it's just like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's two very different relationships. Yeah. It's like, I don't blame you for this. I very much blame you for this.
Absolutely blame him.
Which, I mean, to be fair, is very fair. Like, yeah, he kind of, stabbed him in the neck with a needle and drugged him and didn't trust him to buy out the contract and,
Yeah.
But I'm not a rogue apologist.
Right.
Well, so it's interesting to me, and I know Pop Top in the Den is a rogue apologist, because his whole thing is like, well, like, why didn't Darrow just tell him? And it's like, well, what is Darrow gonna say? Like, yeah, I was gonna blow up the place. I'm totally a, like, terrorist. Because even, like, if you look at it, if he was like, oh, yeah, I knew I was gonna duel with Cassius. I didn't want you there. Like, no, you want your strongest duelist next to you. Like, so I'm not an apologist, but I get why Roke is mad. First off, he got to miss a great party. Either way it went. Either he missed a good party or he missed a good fight, and I feel like for the Golds, that's the same thing. So
yeah, what he tells them is, I wanted to protect you because I knew I would need you after the gala and I couldn't risk your safety.
To me, that sounds like, you're not strong enough to duel next to me.
Well, let's be honest. He's not.
Also, this is also valid. I get Darrow's inclination for this and trying to play it up as this was my long game tactical decision. But yes, to your point, Rook is not the best. And also he's just far too caring about Roke.
Yes.
Him and Tactus both are just the where it's just like Roke, like your feelings are valid. It sucks that Quinn died. It sucks that you got stabbed in the neck. It sucks that you missed out on a good party/fight. You're the center of the story here. There is a much bigger picture, and you also need to take a step back and stop making this all about you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all about me.
Is Roke an only child? Do we know?
It does not specify.
No, Tactus has the brothers.
Tactus has brothers. We kind of hear everybody else having siblings. Roke we don't hear, and he gives me, like, very much only child vibes, especially his...
100%.
And, like, he's not like the rest of them that kind of grow up of, war might be an option. Like, his mom's a senator, and, like, on, like, the quality control, like, that's a pretty job secure. So it's that, like, he's a trust fund kid. Like, more than any of the rest of them.
Yeah.
He is an only child trust fund kid, and I went to Harvard, so why don't the rest of you just listen to me, is the vibe I'm getting. Nothing against people who go to Harvard. We just, especially a Canadian,
just don't be an asshole.
That's the stereotype. That's the stereotype we get.
Children. I should be offended, but you're also not wrong.
That's the stereotype that comes out of the United States.
I resemble that. I resemble that remark. It's fine.
Yeah.
You said New Jersey. Did you go to Princeton?
Yeah, what is happening?
For grad school, yeah.
We have a genius, folks.
Did not.
You could have said you were. Nobody would have known.
We would have been
sure shit wouldn't have known.
Also an only child, so thanks. That was two. It's fine. It's fine. We're just gonna breeze past it.
It's fine.
I'm halfway through my drink. We're gonna breeze past. It's all good.
I'm the youngest of 4, and am I not the quintessential youngest child?
Baby.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 2.
Yeah, see? And do we see the difference between the responsible one versus me?
Like Salem said, the calm to the chaos.
Yes, you are the calm to the chaos. The oldest child versus the youngest here. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Roke just hits me with that everything is about me.
He's so ungracious in this moment because even Darrow is like beyond wrong. The intent was good. The idea and execution were as stupid as they come. I have to get on my knees. Honestly, Darrow shouldn't have even said it. He just should have done it. He just should have done it. That should have been an out of context quote. We're gonna move past that too.
It's not out of context when you say here.
Now.
Yep. I'll pull it later for an Instagram and we'll make it
there we
context.
Yeah. There we go. I was about to say, or I'm not going to. But yeah, he's just so ungracious, and it's just like, dude, like, I literally had a bag full of Lysander in one hand, and Aja, it was Aja.
Yeah, like.
What do you want?
What do you expect me to do?
Him and Nero both. It's just like what are y'all new here? Like,
yeah.
This is like the Olympic night of the Olympic nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll see it again in a couple chapters.
Yep. Okay. Are we ready for Lauren?
Yes.
Speaking of Lauren. Tonight.
What are we drinking tonight?
Kipper and I.
Oh, yes.
Kipper and I are both drinking Lagavulin. In honor of Lauren.
Excellent.
It doesn't say that, but Darrow paid Lagavulin to train with Lauren.
Yeah. So.
You can spoil just a little bit.
No, I have a brief aside on this because even several rereads in, I'm still slightly confused. Did Darrow train with Lauren in person on Europa?
No.
Okay. This was over Zoom
on Europa.
Because I was trying to reconcile no, we had a while before the academy. And a lot that and that's a lot of time that he was spending with Mustang, but he was also training with Lauren. So I was like, I could not.
And there's a line. This is the first time I picked up on the line where Mustang and Roke used to go to the symphony or the opera. And, And Darrow says no, I don't like it or whatever, but really it's because he had to go during that. He spent that time with Lauren. They were going, and they're like, he's like, ooh, no, can't.
Yeah, I think he says it's not that I didn't want to.
Right.
It's that Lauren was a demanding.
Teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was not on.
Yeah.
Because we get that it would be fascinating to train on Europa because he talks immediately when we're there about the gravity and
gravity just being terrible.
Yeah. Which I'm like, I don't know, if we ever get a TV show movie, I don't think we're gonna get the gravity type stuff. I just don't think it'll be possible to really pull off because it's even the Institute on Mars. I don't know. That's neither here nor there, but I don't know.
Yeah. But
anyway,
so before Darrow went to the academy, and the academy is I think it's a year-long thing,
right?
So they trained together, or Darrow trained under Lauren, for the 2 years between the Institute and the academy on Mars, before Lauren just goes, yeah, I'm out of here.
Right.
I guess he had retired or was in the process of retiring for the Rage Knight post.
Lauren was on Mars. That's where they
in Red Rising. In Red Rising, it actually when Darrow and Cassius are fighting the series students over the feast. Proctor Series says to Fitchner, like, no wonder you interviewed for the Rage Knight post. So already, like, that far back is Lorne was basically getting ready to leave.
Right.
So, and then when Darrow's away at the academy, Lorne fucks off to Europa. Anyways, so yeah, we get our
Thank you
for
clarifying that one. Yeah,
you're welcome.
But
yeah, so we get our first like actual introduction to Lorne.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah,
I love Lorne so much.
Yeah, he's like the very melancholy grandfather.
Yes.
The opposite grandfather of Kavix.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
yeah,
is
exactly.
There is no happiness. There is no magic in the world except for my Griffin.
Which we will come back to that. But I was gonna say Kavix is probably the grandpa born just probably 1930s in like present day, so was too young to fight in the World War II. Lorne is very much, I think, the grandpa who is slightly older, maybe born in the 1920s.
That's fair.
And fought in World War II and just doesn't want it again. Like, I have this PTSD. I get maybe that I was awarded the Victoria Cross or whatever the equivalent of that is for the U.S. And like, I don't want to relive those days. I don't want to do it. Rather than Kavix is that like, oh, I was slightly after, so maybe, one of the like, I don't know, maybe Vietnam, but like, you don't have the horrors of D-Day. And someone's going to come in here and call me out on that line right there about Vietnam versus, but it's just that like slightly different, like, I don't want to revisit it. I don't want to be there. Rather than the grandpa that like was alive during World War II, but didn't necessarily see the horrors. And hasn't seen that.
Kavix's memories of World War II in this metaphor would have been the post-war boom.
Yes. Yeah.
Not the actual war itself. Like
exactly.
It would have been like vague recollection.
For lack of a better term. Versus horrors.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So we just get him, and we get him that it's not even like so if we're using World War II as the context, like Lorne would have been like one of the generals and understands, is up there with the people who would have been in the war room or wherever of like, I really see the horrors and I know what Darrow is going through right now. We've moved past it and we start to get him saying, do you know the other people that were along the ride with me? He gets to give the background of Octavia. He gets to give the background of Nero. Of like, dude, like, you don't know who you're fucking with.
Yeah. Like, you think things have been bad so far? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And like we get to find out a little bit about the loss of his sons.
Yeah.
And how he wanted Darrow to be less like him.
Yeah.
And that's totally not how it turned out. Like they're the same damn man, basically.
Yeah.
But we also see like a little bit of humor out of him. Like he criticizes Darrow's duel with Cassius. It's like the Arenicus folly would have done him in 3 moves. And Darrow's like, I was putting on a show. And he's like, I didn't train you to be a showman.
Yeah. I did not train you to be Cassius, Yeah. Cassius, who was just like, I'm Cassius Albulana. I've been training with the Razor since I was 4 and still sucking on mother's teeth. Like, no, Darrow, get in, do your business, and happen.
Yeah.
Like, this is not. Yeah. This is not how you deal. No. No.
Yeah.
We also get a nice little bit of foreshadowing in this chapter. It's not like long foreshadowing, but Darrow asks where Lauren's grandkids are and like all the children and the servants and everything.
Yeah.
And he says they're in the East Wing till you leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then we find out there's a Praetorian death squad in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder which one he's actually hiding him from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of both.
I believe the answer is yes. It is a not quite Lando Calrissian on Cloud City Empire Strikes Back situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lauren's
yeah.
smart enough to know that Darrow is showing up for a reason, and Darrow's gonna bring his own entourage.
Yeah.
So, like, you gotta still, I think, hide from Darrow, but at the same time, yeah, you do have...
Yeah.
But before we see any action there, we'll go back and we get Icarus. Icarus the Griffin, who...
Again, a hell of a name, and also just like... maybe that's the long-term foreshadowing, but like,
yeah, but I love
it.
We know I love my mythological creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
There is an out of context that we'll all pause right now.
LARPing must be amazing with these guys. Like, you can literally ride a griffin.
Right? Like,
yes.
Just think about it. Like, you're just having, instead of playing, D&D sitting around your kitchen table, let's just go, like, with the griffin, with
We're
whatever.
actually playing real dungeons. Fireball the son of a bitch. Like, okay. like,
and spoilers.
Yeah, we can't go on the other side. But we have a freaking griffin here.
Yeah.
I was obsessed. And it's a, like, giant griffin, right? Like, it's got a whole, it's got a whole background.
Yeah, it's the largest griffin that Darrow's ever seen.
Yeah.
Which means that Darrow has seen multiple griffins. Like, can we follow up with that as well?
Right. Right.
Well, I mean, it does talk about how Darrow has done research on the Obsidians.
That's true.
Or not necessarily research, but has learned extensively about them.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So he would know about the Valkyrie Spires and the Griffin Riders.
Yeah.
Icarus is a descendant or whatever of the Valkyrie Spires Griffins, correct? I think it says
it's actually carved by Zanzibar.
Oh, you're right. We get the mention of Zanzibar in this one.
Another mention.
Yeah.
One of very few.
The greatest of the Violets, or the Carvers, if you will. Yeah. But yeah, I just love, and just this idea that even Lauren's like, all right, let's go find Icarus. Like, I know you want to see him. Let's go find him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, the thing that that illustrates Icarus's size to me the most is there's a quote that's basically Icarus is standing up, and it says, "He uproots a tree as easily as I would pull a hair." And I'm like, first of all, how big's the tree?
Well, yeah.
But second of all, regardless, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I am here for the carved animals.
That his eyes half the size of your skull. Like, this is a massive thing. I love it.
These are not your Harry Potter griffins. These are so much more.
Right. Yeah, I love it.
Anyway, after that, then we get the drama.
Then we get the drama.
So then, Darrow springs his trap on Lauren. It's not really a trap.
Right.
But he's like, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew there was Praetorians here.
Yeah.
And the final line is a lion after all.
Ooh, that feels like a burn.
That's mean.
That is mean.
Rude.
Yeah.
Well, especially like
just
so
again.
Darrow's fake family. It's the Pegasus, right?
Right.
Yep.
So like to drop from a Pegasus to a lion seems. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's rude again because it's like does Lauren really think that this is just purely out of devotion to Nero? Because I don't know. But it's rude.
Yeah. So we get Darrow forcing Lauren to choose a side.
Yeah.
And I think that my favorite just mini quote out of that is Lauren talking to Aja, and he's like, "I'm a man of peace," and she goes like, "Then why's your blade out?" And he's like, "God damn it."
Well. If it isn't the consequences of my own instinctual actions.
And this is also when we find out that Tactus is now a Praetorian.
Yes. We get the return of Tactus.
This little shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just jumps in, he just jumps in, and his this greeting line,
I think it's just like, "Hello, Reaper."
Right, and he flips him off, and it's just like, you're such a little shit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just speaking of traitors, hello Tactus, pretty armor. It's just Repo, my good fellow, or my good man, and flips Darrow off. And it's just like,
yeah, and then he asks, "Where's
when
Severo?"
is actual Tactus? Yeah.
And he whispers something to Aja.
Yeah.
And then she's on guard because Darrow always has oh my god, what's the word? A contingency plan.
Yeah. A plan. Yes. And this is the thing. This is where we bring in our Knives Out Glass Onion reference. Tactus. It's like, wow, he's so smart that he knows Severo's out and around. It's like, no, he's just stupid because look what side he's on. Look what he's trying to pull right now.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
We also
self-serving.
We find out that the Howlers have been hiding in the sea, and Darrow calls them his Storm Sons.
Yeah.
It's like, of course they are.
Yeah. Well, and then we got new Howlers. We have new Howlers.
Exactly. That was my next thing. It's like,
love it.
They filled out their ranks from the Telemanuses and the Arcos, and they had tryouts. Snakes, alcohol, and mushrooms were involved, and they wouldn't tell me anything else. It's like, oh shit.
Classic Howlers.
I love it.
Well, I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I also love, this is way off, but I don't think we're going to bring it up later, is later when Mustang makes a comment about the Howlers, and they're clearly just listening to EDM all the time, because she calls it music that it's like a robot having a seizure or something.
Yep.
I just picture them at all times with as if they're in a rave.
100%.
They're just
they're all whacked out on psychedelics all the time.
At all times. Oh my god.
Right. It's like the God, it's like there's like the like it came on YouTube first, but then turned into like a TikTok sound where it's Orpheus in the underworld, but it's the can.
Oh.
And then it's like it starts out orchestral as it was originally written, and then by the end turns into like an EDM version of it. So I feel like Severo would be like we listen to other music too.
Yeah.
Put something on like that to like get Virginia invested, and then it turns into seizure music, and then she'd just be like, "God damn it!
God damn it!"
Yeah.
God damn it, Severo!" And he's just like, "Yes, that's me." Yes, no, I love. I love it. I love the development. Howlers here.
Just the howlers at all times.
Yes,
we are here for it.
We're here for it.
And then Daryl blows the fucking Praetorians up. And it actually does briefly mention, like, he waits till Aja is out of the blast radius.
Yeah.
So this is our first hint that like he's letting her go.
Yeah.
So he blows her up, and Tactus like pulls her back into the doorway.
Right.
And then comes I think probably my favorite single word quote from possibly the entire series. And it just gives me chills every time I listen through it on the audiobook. And it's just Severo's just sitting there waiting to go after these Praetorians.
Right.
He's like whining, "Daryl, let me go." And then it's just hunt. Like, every time. Every time it gets me.
Maybe my next read through will be a listen through, because I've never done the audiobooks.
This is my first time listening to it, and so that was, I think, last night I was listening to it after we've done Out of Context, so I knew that was Crescent's favorite part, and I was waiting for it, and I was like,
love it.
It hits different on the audiobooks, because as you say, you get the whininess and just the like anticipation before the hunt. Like,
Tim Gerard Reynolds, if you ever see this, you are the bomb.
We approve. The little spike bombs,
Cheers to TGR.
Cheers to that.
But yeah, and then we get we do clearly have. Well, and at this point, Roke's yelling in Darrow's ear of like,
he's like,
"What are you doing?
Don't
what
let
are you
her
doing?
Get away."
What else
Darrow's like,
do?
"Can you control your own battle? Like, you are not here. Control it yourself. Get out of our face," kind of thing. But we are seeing Roke be like, "What are you doing?"
That up.
Yeah.
And he shuts his comm off. Like, he literally cuts him off. And it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
You are not doing much to build bridges here.
No.
You mean Darrow's not, because he cuts him off?
Darrow's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Darrow's shutting him out once again.
Yes, and this will get into to later in this section too. Again, my question of like, y'all have a long time between Luna and Europa. Like, we're not going at light speed here. Transit times are taking weeks up to months. Like, what were y'all doing?
Yeah.
That whole time.
Not talking. We're not talking about our emotions.
We don't have
We don't have therapists.
Right.
There's no therapists.
There's no therapy.
Yeah, we've been through this.
There's no therapists in space. We're putting that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We'll get those for Lightbringer.
Oh my god.
Abandon home, all you who open this book. There are no therapists in space.
There's no therapists in space.
But again, just like, yes. Darrow is not doing much to build bridges. In this moment, he is doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Of focusing on the moment. And he cannot have Roke bitching in his ear.
Yep.
You gotta focus. We got a mission here. We need to do shit. they still probably should have talked, well, both before, so that Daryl could have clued him in a little bit, or at least had, like, okay, shut up, here's our debrief after.
Yes.
But also, Rogue needs to lock it down.
Yes, Rogue needs to lock it down. But I wonder,
this
like,
is just spiraling.
If Rogue knew that the plan was at all times to let Aja
Again,
go, even though it makes sense, would he have been on board? He probably wouldn't have.
Because he is just too much in his own emotions and too much focused on his own petty revenge because he's not looking at the big picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of petty, we're back to Tactus still.
I was going to say, speaking of being wrapped up in your own shit.
So I had this thought the other night. So after reading this, but I kept coming back in my brain to this particular scene, chewing over, because one of our questions in Golden Sun was did Lauren make the right decision?
Right.
With Tactus, and I kept coming back to this, and for me, my point of no return for Tactus in this instance is that, okay, so yes, he pulled Aja out of the explosion. Aja took off. She was just like, okay, no, plan is shot to shit. I'm done. Tactus carries on Octavia's order and goes after the innocents.
Yeah.
That is unforgivable for me. And that's a connection that I really did not make in my brain until this read through, and again I had to go back to it.
Yeah. Well, and especially after doing this read through, where, as you say, with the innocents, so yeah, he's in the hiding space with the kids, but I'm just thinking of also, you read through and Tactus time and time again has shown that he will react under his own volition and not care about anyone else, because we see in Red Rising,
it's at least only cares about himself.
But it's also it's a theory. They don't have concrete proof that he's who cut Tamara's I don't know, saddle or whatever. Yeah.
But
it's stated as a fact in Golden Sun.
Okay.
So I'm willing to bet that they actually know.
Because in Red Rising, they just assume it's him, and
yes. And it's like right now they talk about it. Yeah. It's like, I should have known. Oh no, sorry. I think it's when he takes Lysander. It's like, I should have known. He will always act in his own self-interest.
Yeah.
Because he cut Tamara's saddle.
Yeah.
And it's what did Tamara do to you? But she was Primus, and he's jealous and mad. So he's going to react in that way. But she, as far as we don't know the inner workings of House Diana. Maybe she was a bitch. But as far as we know, he just did it for himself. And then we see with Lysander. And then we see here. So, my first read through, and genuinely, again, because it's been 4 years, I kind of forgot what happened. And I spent all of this read through genuinely worried for Lauren's kids and grandkids of he might just turn on them.
Right.
How do we know they're actually real? Because Tactus is just, he flips at any moment. So when Lauren then, we get the breakdown of him and why it's all happening, and again, there's no therapy in space, but he finally talks about his emotions and his brothers and all of that. But I, even through that, was Daryl, why are you trusting him? Why are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's we see that he's basically trying to see the best in him. He's I know he wants to change. I know he wants to be better. And I think he can. He just, hasn't been given a chance. But it's hasn't he?
He was.
Hasn't he, though?
Yeah, you gave
Like
him a chance
you've basically flipped him twice.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
I genuinely sad that Tactus dies, because I would have liked to see if he actually would have changed. But like at the same time, like I'm not naive enough to be like, oh, he's definitely gonna change the third time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, as if he wouldn't have listened to Roke. He would have been Roke's confidant the entire time of like then going back to Mars and yeah. We don't want to jump too far ahead, but yeah. And I love the play here of Lauren and Darrow. In that like and I think that the interesting thing for me is that there's two things at odds here. It's the principle and it's the specific instincts. And Lauren and Darrow are both right about one of them, and they're both wrong about the other. So that like Darrow having faith that people can change, if he didn't have that hope, if he didn't believe that was possible, he would not be able to do the things that he's doing and eventually going to do. He is extremely wrong in this instance about tactics. And Lauren being like, people never change, is wrong in principle.
Yeah.
We have evidence of that with other people. He is 100% correct regarding tactics. So it's just like also like, kudos to Darrow that he didn't throw it in Lauren's face. Like that is some like Golden Sun Darrow growth of like him maybe Red Rising Darrow would have pulled some petty shit like that, but like he didn't. So
he's getting smarter.
He is getting smarter. Never fast enough.
Just a little bit.
But getting smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's still like, still such a brutal moment and like, just so unexpected. Like, again, even this read through, even I couldn't remember. I was like, I know Texas dies, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember exactly.
With an old man killing a young man.
Yeah.
And it's like he stabs him. Like actually, it kind of parallels Aja killing Quinn
4 times.
And I literally I just realized this very second. It's he stabs him under the arm where his breastplate, like where his armor's the weakest, 4 times, like as fast as a hummingbird beats its wings.
Yeah.
And then twists the knife, like literally twists the knife like he's wringing out a rag.
Yeah.
And it's just an old man killing a young man.
Yeah.
Save that wringing out a rag for certain death in Morningstar.
What? Nobody dies in Morningstar?
Oh, silly me. My mistake.
Morningstar is more happy than the Wizard of Oz. I don't know why Wizard of Oz is the only like book I can think of that's happy. I don't know what...
That's a great fucking question, Skipper.
I'll revisit this one later.
I'll let you talk about your therapist with that one.
Because only 2 witches die in Wizard of Oz. That's only 2 deaths. That can't be happy.
Yeah, you're right. People do die in Wizard of Oz. Oh God. Anyways,
boy,
then immediately after that, we get like a little bit of, I don't know if I would call it comedy, like a little break for comedy, because Kavix is negotiating his ships with Darrow,
Yeah.
and he starts with 30%, and he basically talks himself down to 10%, and Daxo's standing there like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Like, damn it, Dad.
And Darrow's like, "Okay, back to 30% for friendship." And then we find out that Ragnar
Yes,
has
is the
like
boss.
his gold leader of his, of his legion, or
Yeah.
whatever term it is, died, and Ragnar's just like, no, like, let's get this shit done. And
Yeah.
there's no Bologna blade dancers left.
Yeah. Yeah. Ragnar
Real noble boys,
takes.
or they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a badass bitch at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Boss bitch.
And
Yeah.
then speaking of bitch, immediately following that, we get Pliny launching his coup.
The real bitch.
That fucking,
So,
like,
yeah,
little finger
Mustang.
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mustang comes back after escaping
Yeah.
from Pliny,
Yeah.
and just he's just so gross.
He's so gross.
He has told Mustang that, he doesn't want to see her bloodline end, and the sovereign has granted him a boon, and he will divorce his wife and allow her to marry him so that the bloodline will continue.
Can we also talk about how he's like, well,
sorry to
no,
anybody
this is
who's got,
spoiler.
like, gag reflex things.
Yeah.
But
because then the next part is about how he's always had her eye, which means like, and we'll revisit that in a second. But
yep,
our assumption is that he has known her
her
whole
entire
life. And he's,
Yeah.
we're guessing, like a 50 to 70-year-old man, and she's
Yeah.
early 20s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
this is, oh god, like, so dirty, so
Yeah.
gross.
He's little
Predator.
Plenty is filth.
pedophilia. Yeah. Little finger.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, no, he's gross.
Good call.
Oh, he's so gross. Yeah.
But it does give Mustang such a good line.
Yes, which I think
When he
my
said
favorite is,
when
like,
he said he's always had his eye on me, so I took one of his, as she pulls his fucking eyeball out of her pocket.
and yeah, kudos to her. I also think, like, it is the first time we see, like, Victra trying to almost be friends with her, because you know that Victra, like, because she's the one who says, like, what was your answer? Because you know Victra is going to be sitting there like, let's get the girl chat in. And then, yeah, but it says Mustang ignores Victra and then still says, like, this was my fucking answer.
Which is so funny, like, because it's just like they're cut from, like, they're like
the same cloth in this moment.
I was trying to do, like, two sides of the same coin, but, like, cut from the same cloth. It's two sides of the same cloth.
Because you know Victra would have done this. No, Victra would have just killed him. Like,
Mustang must have had a reason not to, but, like, okay.
I think it's just Mustang's got that wit and that, like, this is the dramatic impact I want, rather than Victra would have just, like, cut him down.
Right.
But yeah, but then following that, we get Severo. What's the fucking eye? It is the first we know of him, right? This is the first eyeball he is taking from somebody.
He's hoping to collect the set. Unbelievable.
And not the first person he collects a set from. Like, dude. We love him. He's so fucking weird. I love him so
but
much.
the best is he's like polite about it. Like he's just staring at it, and then eventually he's like, "Can I have this?" And is it Mustang or Darrow who's like, "Fine," and like he's like,
No, Mustang's like, "It's all yours." Like,
okay. And Lauren is like, "What is with this dude?" I mean, Lauren. I wish we could get more of like Lauren with the howlers of just like
what the fuck am I signed
him
up
just
for?
like constantly like face palming himself, just what the fuck am I?
Yeah, what have I gotten myself into? What did Darrow get me into, really?
Right, because it's not even what did I get myself into. It's just like, Darrow, what the hell, man?
What is this? Who are you hanging out with?
Enough? What is this?
This is when your grandpa shows up at your birthday party, and it's like,
in my day in House Mars, we were
I'm just picturing like
killing.
In Canada, your 19th, or like in the US, your 21st birthday, and like your friends are there, and your grandpa's there, so they're getting trashed for the first time, and grandpa's in the corner being like, who are you hanging out with? Like, what is this? Why are they doing like Jaeger bombs? Like, what the hell? Like, yeah. What is this Cards Against Humanity you speak of? That's the, like, I can just see the howlers being like, we're gonna play Cards Against Humanity, and Lauren's like, you're gonna do what? Like, yeah.
That would still be so tame for them anyway.
Oh yeah.
We get a couple other really good moments in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Lorne decides to tell Mustang that maybe she should take a rest. She's been through a trial, and she loses it.
Why? Why would I do that?
And it's like the howlers start backing up when he starts saying it, and it's like,
yes,
my dude,
yeah.
You are in the middle of fucking up terribly right now.
You may have trained Aja, you will not survive Mustang.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you're stepping in here, man.
Yeah, and then we get Darrow showing how he's kind of pushing other colors to contribute. He gets
because we get the orange.
Scyther to Scyther the orange to he basically suggests a better option than just putting the ship that Mustang came in on out of the airlock. He's like, no, we can find the tracker and send that shit the other way.
Yeah.
You know, send him on a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so we start to get that.
And then we get the Darrow Mustang mind meld.
Yes, this is the moment.
This is the mind meld, yeah.
This is...
You're not going crazy, they're just weird, because they just instantly know the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but I can't. I'm sorry. Again, it's just little things that I'm reading too fast and I miss. Sarah and Mustang are having this conversation. Walking away, they get 20 meters away. They get 60 feet away from Severo before they realize that he's not with them, and he's back looking at the eyeball.
Yep.
It's just like, it's like two parents going off, and then it's just like, wait, fuck,
where's our child? That's exactly it.
Where's it's like, oh, look, a pretty rock. Except, no, it's an eyeball.
Can I have it?
I want it. It's just like,
yes,
you already have eyeballs at home. Okay, fine, one more. We're not arguing about this. We have other things to do. We gotta go. We gotta go.
We go into having the Tactus conversation with Roke.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally over Tactus's dead body.
Yep.
The best place where you want to talk about the dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't haunt you if you're talking over their corpse.
Yeah. that's how that works.
Where's
That's
the
how
gun?
that
He
works.
has to stay there.
I told you we would be dragging him at his own funeral.
Oh, like.
Yep.
Okay, so here's my thing with the Roke being this in mourning. You watched him betray you. You watched him take Lysander. You watched that he was for the other team. Yeah, it's gonna hurt when you lose a friend. It always, that little sting of I knew, like, we have memories together, but like, what did you think was gonna happen when he showed up on the other side? Like, why do you think that?
Yeah.
Why? This is war. Somebody has to die. He chose the wrong side. Don't play.
Yeah, he chose the side opposite the Reaper. Like, what do you expect?
And he was, like, for Roke, he chose the side of your girlfriend's murderer. So, why would you think, like, I don't know, you're going to be sad about it. Oh, like, I've lost someone. But to get as emotional as he is, go to therapy.
Right.
No therapy in space, Skipper.
There's no therapy.
I was gonna say, like Rogue
together.
Cactus, like I don't ship either of them with anyone except the closest therapist. Like y'all have too much to work on with yourselves before you try to tackle a relationship.
This is so in the den. The question of the day was this blanket statement of Red Rising. Fuck, marry, kill, without any context of who we were like who the players
there was no
were.
Options.
There was
no options. It was just pick your favorites.
Pick your three. Pick your three.
This was it.
Yep.
Anyway, so my thing with the marry part though is I was like, I don't know if there is a single guy in the Red Rising universe that I want to marry because they all need such like deep therapy.
Yeah,
Kavix. I think I said Pax because like Pax at the beginning
also
said,
fair.
Like, okay, fine, other than the Telemanises, and that is because they have a good support group as like their family, and they clearly talk through their emotions. There is no one else in this whole series that I want to marry because they all need such deep therapy and help. And if you're not willing to go to therapy, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. I'm sorry that weird look on my face was welcome to California. Very, very tiny earthquake that I just felt. It's fine. We'll move past. You guys, though.
I don't have those.
I don't have those either. All right.
Fine.
Okay, so everybody, if we lose Rocket... hopefully we'll get him back.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fine. I mean, with this drink, how strong it is, if the earth is shaking, I'm probably walking straight. So it's all good.
Fair.
Anyway, all the men in Red Rising need therapy. Yes.
Yeah.
And the women,
more than
too.
Others.
Mustang
Everybody.
I would say Mustang she still has some childhood trauma, but she is the most level-headed of everybody in this series.
For sure.
And again, because she was raised by the Telemanises, so I would make the argument that
support system.
They have the support system, and so they are slightly better off.
What?
Theramanus? Is that what you said?
Theramanus?
Yeah. Yeah. She's the only one that's like...
The only therapists in space are the Telemanises.
Yeah. Yes.
We also learn in Darrow's conversation with Roke that Tactus did not sell the violin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wanted to basically knock the rust off and perform for Darrow. Which is just like another gut punch.
Yeah. It's a low blow. in this moment.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
low
that's
blow in
super
this moment,
manipulative.
for sure.
Like, I don't know about manipulative, but just like almost intentionally hurtful.
He wanted to hurt Darrow, yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I like even like this scene, like this read through too, like I've heard that people ship Roke and Tactus, and I'm still just like, I just see it. Like, they're very, very similar, but like, see anything that would have indicated more than that. So, which is fine because I frankly, neither of them is my rep.
I am.
Thank you.
I am one of them. I have one of the people that believes that.
Okay.
They may not have been everything, but they were something to each other.
Okay.
It would give then the reason of why Roke is so
so distraught.
So in mourning.
Yeah, but like, him, like he kisses Tactus's cheek or his forehead or whatever. It's like the benediction, but it's just like,
that's to me, whatever.
That's whatever, because like if that were the indication, look, the Fellowship of the Ring would have been like a nonstop orgy from Rivendell to Barad-dûr.
I just it would give the reasoning of why he is so distraught and so like
it's all
yeah.
Also, and then during the gala, like obviously it's not like a big blinking arrow pointing at it or anything, but Tactus is like, "Oh, where's Roke?" And Darrow's like, "Well, why don't you go get him if you want him so much?" And Tactus like pushes back really hard, or like immediately.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. It's certainly not like a deeply held core belief.
Right.
Yeah,
I could see it.
Right.
And Darrow's dumb enough to not notice things.
Well,
that's correct.
Darrow's
being an unreliable narrator.
They're probably all sleeping with each other. And Darrow just doesn't notice, other than Victra, who is the most outwardly like, let me get in your face about my feelings. None of the rest of them will talk
let me
about
get in your let me get in your pants about my feelings.
Yeah. But like the rest of them are not. They're like, we're gonna hold back our feelings, and Victor's the only one who's like, why don't we let him in on the orgy? Like,
and we're just like, no, he's too boring. He's not gonna have a good time. He's gonna bring the entire mood down.
Yeah.
Because Darrow would want to talk about the feelings, and everyone's just like,
it's not the place.
No, man, it's my fuck right now. Come on.
Remember when I asked earlier, Crescent, whether or not we'd have to redo the disclaimer about, like, are we going to get out of anything that's not death and violence? And we were like, no, there's nothing in this section to talk about other than death and violence.
Well,
I mean, you're the editor.
This is fine. As long as we don't go... and this is not going to trigger somebody. Anyway, moving on.
Y'all also knew what was going to happen when you had me on. Because I will bring this
stuff
to say
it.
I will bring this stuff up, and we could talk a lot more about this. We don't have to. Other than I will say, but I don't want us to have to go down this road. Like, we'll spend the rest of the time on this. Skipper, to your point, last episode, or maybe last two episodes, your shirt we don't want strong female characters. We want complex female.
Complex female, yeah.
This is how I feel about this. Like, I don't want strong queer characters. I want complex queer characters.
Yeah.
Were there more queer rep up to this point in Golden Sun? Like, everything with Tactus, I'd be like, fine, great.
Yeah.
Where we're at, I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. Totally understandable.
Just
absolutely understandable.
Anyway, like I said, I don't want to completely throw us down that road.
No, but
Cactus is now dead. Cactus is dead. He's on the slab. He can move on.
Yeah. No, but it is worth mentioning.
Finish your thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth mentioning.
It's absolutely
and
something that's worth saying.
At this point when it comes to the lore, the canon, Tactus and Victra are the two characters we've seen, and I believe Cassius, who are pansexual in canon, but it's not explicitly said at this point. So you have a completely good point.
And so much of it is with the pinks.
Yes.
Or
the
like
pinks,
the Tactus line with Darrow and the Jackal at the club, where Darrow's like, "Oh, I'm not the one to go and manipulate this other gold. You should get Tactus to do it." It's like, okay, so it's like in context of like political manipulation, which, like, again, big age and crime. We need a little bit, beyond that at this point. And
I will say at this point though, like, again, as we just said, Darrow is so dumb. I don't think he's paying attention to anybody. I don't think he realizes, like, he concentrates so much on how Victra is in love with him, but it's like, do you not see that she also is hitting on everybody else? Like, you are just, like, moves. The only person you think is hitting on you. Like, I don't, like, he spends most of the first book questioning Mustang rather than, like, well, good job. Like, Victra is just the one who actually makes the move. Like, but yeah.
Beating him over the head, like Aja.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Darrow, this song. Too soon? Is it too soon?
Too soon.
It's just like, Darrow, you're so vain. You probably think this Victra is about you. No.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, I totally get where you're coming from on that. And like, diversity in science fiction has a long way to go. But, like, we're not...
There's progress being made, but it can always be better.
Yeah.
Yes. Both. Again, much appreciation to Pierce for making any effort. Because so many other places don't. So I want to clarify that, like, I still love Pierce, and we're getting there. It's great.
Yeah, but always a conversation worth having.
Okay, segue. The next, basically the next War Council meeting. That's like the new generation.
Yeah.
And Lorne, and Grandpa Lorne is there,
and Cavax,
and Grandpa Lorne. And the grandpas. It's the younglings and the grandpas. Okay, yeah, so like, so they talk about how Nero got captured, how he almost got away, which is also terrifying.
He cuts down one Olympic knight, almost cuts down another.
Yeah. And pity it wasn't Cassius, because everyone's like, wait, who's that in the sun armor?
Oh, that's like, right. This is when
we're just like, fuck, he's back. Okay, well, got his arm. And then I love the conversation then where they're all doing the they're all pointing like the finger guns at each other.
They're all questioning Victra.
Yeah.
Who can we backtrack a bit of, like, we talked about Cavax. Yeah. Is this starts and Victra is holding Sophocles, and then they all start. My favorite moment is they all start questioning her alliance because of what her mom did.
Right.
Who knows what's happening? And I believe it's Severo.
Just takes Sophocles.
I'm like, no, don't touch.
You don't deserve this.
So we've got Severo is not trusting Victra with Sophocles as we all question her.
Valid.
Yeah. Nobody is trusting Victra in general.
Yep.
Except for Roke.
Except for Roke is the one who says, you have never questioned me, and you should. And so why is it that you're questioning? And so, like, he gets points at this point, and you don't want to give him the points, but you gotta give him the points.
It's
you
bad
can't withhold points.
It's bad points, though, because him saying, all here know my family is full of politicians. Some of you might even think I come from noble blood and noble seed, but we Fabii are a dishonest breed. That is the only honest thing he ever says. Right away, everybody should have been like, you go on.
Yeah.
Please feel free to walk out the airlock.
Right. Allow me to get the door for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and then he goes on to be like, he doesn't just say that; he gives examples. And it's just like,
Yep.
Why?
Yeah.
But yes, points.
Somewhat points because he sticks up for Victra.
He makes a valid point on behalf of Victra.
It's not on behalf of himself, but it's good on behalf of her.
No, and it just makes him that much worse of a person.
Yeah. But I do like that we see...
yes.
Is this the first mention that we have of technically how powerful Victra is? That she controls her own ships. She controls her own... It's not like Antonia, who has to act under her mother. Victra is pretty much the only child, quote unquote, in the room with her own everything.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
Boss ass bitch.
Boss ass bitch. I'm getting a fan out again.
Boss ass bitch.
Boss ass bitch.
I've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso, and that's what they call all the women, is the boss ass bitch in that one. Because they are. But anyway. Yeah, so we get that portion of, you know, she doesn't end up having to leave the room because we somewhat trust her. Maybe.
They make their plan. Well, they make their plan to go and get the main fleet back. And Nero, you know, purely out of necessity, but, you know, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
No, it's a good chapter. It's a good chapter.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
And then immediately following that, Darrow goes to bed.
Ooh.
Alone, as always.
Alone. And then is followed by Miss Mustang, who, like...
beats the shit out of him.
I like it.
While
so she, like...
trying to get him...
Yeah, like, she shows up, is wandering around his quarters, and our assumption is he probably has the biggest area of the ship.
Yeah.
And so she's going, and it's like, oh, there's, like, 6 rooms here. Oh, like, kicks off her shoes at one... Like, she's wearing...
Classic.
Yeah, kicks them off and is like, let me go down and see where you train. And then starts, like, beating the shit.
Beating his ass. It's like, I trained with Lawrence.
Yeah, which at the same time, he's going back and forth with her over the fact of, like, she, you know, is pretty much calling him dumb. And he's like, I only got one question wrong, in which we hear her response of,
you missed the question. No wonder you weren't in Minerva.
I love her. I love her so much.
And now we find out that Pax, because he asks, okay, how did Pax get in Minerva? And we have this heartbreaking kind of moment of, like, he was too... And so you then see her guilt.
Yeah.
Of the, like, he died because he was loyal to me. Like, he could have been in any house. He probably shouldn't have been in Minerva, but he asked to be.
Right.
Because of me.
And maybe if we weren't so close, he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Right.
We have her kind of very vulnerable moment of, like, well, we've seen that Darrow is now, like, excused for the death of Pax. We're getting now...
Right.
Mustang still blames herself.
Yeah.
Also, hang on. Yeah. Hey, Tower, you want to come say hi?
Tower!
No.
Too bad.
Don't be rude.
So for those, okay, can we hear your voice? Tower is a den member who is only just reading Golden Sun for the first time.
He literally finished Golden
it
Sun
today.
tonight.
Oh.
So we are celebrating that.
Get that man a hug. Get that man a hug.
I know.
Yeah.
He asked where the cry corner was, and I said Sophocles' Sanctum, because that's where the animals are, and I believe Badger said Lorne's Decanter, because that's where the alcohol is, so...
Alcohol and hugs, that's the... that's on the agenda for immediately following this.
Love it. I love it.
Love it.
We also find out that apparently Ragnar sleeps with his eyes open in this chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We gotta finish up the Mustang piece, though.
Well, that's...
We're jumping back.
Technically, that's before the Mustang thing.
Is that before?
Yeah.
Oh, we switched Ragnar? Okay, let's finish up Mustang, and then we'll go back.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's all that we need to say about that for Ragnar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just Darrow says, like, dude, no, go actually sleep. If I'm not safe here, I'm not safe
that's right. That's right.
Go do it in your bunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because we then get...
Like, Mustang...
She's pleading with him at this point. Like, let me stay.
Partially.
Like...
But Darrow... Like, she asks him what his favorite dissertation of hers was. Mm-hmm. It's like the insects of specialization. And basically, she's like, so why are you making yourself only a warrior? And he's like, oh, fuck, she got me.
Again, as always.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like, oh, Mustang and outsmarting Darrow, name a more iconic duo.
Of all the predictable things that happen in Red Rising, Mustang outsmarting Darrow is the most predictable thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I love it. But also...
And she says, like, how... no wonder my father loves you so much.
Right.
Like, you are him.
Ouch.
And Darrow's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a not necessarily intentional gut punch, but like...
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool. The heart and your too.
And then, asked me to stay.
And he's
looking at his hands, at his Helldiver hands. And he doesn't ask her to stay.
So by the time he looks up, she's gone. Because like, she has her self-worth. She knows. Crescent's running away. She's got her self-worth.
Just like Darrow should have.
Yeah, he doesn't, but she does. And so she knows, like, I'm not sticking around for somebody who's not gonna give me the attention and the affection that I deserve.
Right. The respect.
The respect!
It's the respect. She's just like, you're trying to play me for a fool by not telling me, by not letting me in, by not being fully honest with me. Yeah. Like, she knows that she can't push him into doing it. She knows that she can't force him to be fully honest with her. So, like, just like the most frustrating thing possible, because it's just like,
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I was her, I'd leave as well. If he's taking that long.
I feel bad. I do feel bad for Darrow with the, like, specialization warrior comment. Because we know that he doesn't want it. But it's necessary.
He just feels like he has to. Yeah.
He can't tell her why at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, the interesting to talk about, would this have been a good moment?
Well, so that leads us into, is it the next section with Ragnar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Literally immediately following this.
Immediately following,
he tells Ragnar.
Is him going to Ragnar.
The threads are starting to come apart in Darray's.
And we know that Severo knows. And now Ragnar is going to know. And Ragnar is
Yeah.
brand new to his life. He doesn't know how Ragnar is necessarily going to take it. Quite frankly, based on me personally, based on Ragnar's belief system, if I was Ragnar, I wouldn't have believed him.
Right.
Been like, you're
right.
bullshitting me right now.
Right.
Like,
Well,
but
he didn't. For
yeah,
a while.
for a bit there, but yeah, like you see that of like, okay, so you can tell Severo, and now you're telling Ragnar, who is a lower color, and you understand why of like the golds may not accept this, but I can give you faith that somebody in the golds is rooting for the lower colors.
Right.
But then to not like Mustang, it's so close because we know we've seen at this point that she like is a reformer. Like
right.
It's so frustrating to me.
And Orion is catching on. We skipped over that because she was like, "Oh, dude, you overstepped there," of suggesting that Ragnar could lead something on his own without gold supervision, and the Telemonuses are just like, "Why would you do that?" And they kind of brush it off. It's just like, "Oh, that crazy Darrow and his funny ideas," and Orion's the one who's just like,
yeah,
sir. Yeah, and I don't know, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? I don't remember when it was. In the den where I was just like, I need somebody who's an expert in Latin to translate for me. Trust those who have been shat on because they know who's doing the shitty.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's a grassroots up sort of evolution that's taking place because it's starting with all the low colors. The high colors, it's very, very individual, case by case. Who's there and who's not. But even Severo, totally different situation. Don't totally know why yet.
We don't know why yet.
But he's been treated like shit by Gold Society his entire life. So, like, that's an easier sell. That was an easier sell for Darrow. Mustang, it's just harder and more complicated because there is still the emotional connection to sort out. And anyway.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that to me, it was one of those like, I just keep going back because he still keeps reflecting at all times to EO. So for me, it's another love by Tom Odell of he just still won't completely commit to Mustang, and he's just holding on still to that that first life. And that's what it is. He had a first life and he's basically reincarnated. So
Right. And just again, Pierce is just so fucking brilliant. He's so good being able to stretch this stuff out. And I can't.
But yeah, so then where are we going from here?
Our next chapter is tea time. So we are going to Linny's flagship.
Yes.
And they fly into the hangar, and basically, this cadre of gold knights in full gear walks out of this shuttle,
in,
right? And all of the low colors just go.
Yep.
And they go and they free all the prisoners. Which,
oh my god. Okay,
Nero's not there.
No, but like Severo going through and you have to bow to the Reaper or thank the Reaper. Thank the Reaper. Yep. Thank the Reaper. And the one woman like refuses and he's like, thank the Reaper.
You unusually tall and decrepit Peerless.
And then you get to the Jackal in which he's like, what's in my pocket?
What's in my pocket?
Great Lord of the Rings reference or the Hobbit reference. And then at that point, Darrow's so done with it, he starts pointing to his eyes so that the Jackal can be like, an eyeball. And like, what? But I just love Severo.
Did you know?
Abusing his power. That's
Yes.
what he's doing. And just
yes.
thank the Reaper. Thank the
Oh,
Reaper.
yes. Yes. I mean, the word has totally fallen out of my brain. The hype man. Everybody needs a hype man. And this is why we love Severo.
This is when we also get Severo takes over the intercoms and
Yes.
sings
Yes.
the song. Do the quote. Do the full quote, because...
Do it.
Oh, if your heart beats like a drum and your legs a little wet, it's 'cause the Reapers come to collect a little debt.
And he sings it 3
but-
times. And then it's Ragnar,
and then Ragnar
is like...
throws a bench at him.
A whole ass table that like lodges in the wall over his head, and then Roke is just like, or not Roke. I'm sorry, Severo.
Severo is
just
like, and then tries to get him to reprimand him,
Yeah.
and like no.
What's
you're-
wrong with you? What's wrong with you, you irritable mountain troll? But immediately before
gory pissing shit.
Severo's song,
I love it.
right
It's
before
so
Severo's
good.
song, where so Jackal's been let out of the cell, and Darrow and him are talking,
Oh yeah.
and Roke notices their familiarity, and Darrow's like, you know, it's another thing I never told him.
It's just a
like
a death spiral at this
The-
point. Like,
Yeah.
This entire part seems like everything Darrow does, he then has to reflect of like, another thing I didn't tell Roke. Another thing Roke's gonna be mad at me about. Yeah, it just
which
keeps...
again, it's just killing me because it's just like, again, we have now made another long trip from Europa to wherever the hell they are to get the fleet. Back toward Mars.
Who knows?
We're on our way to Mars. The asteroid belt. We're to the map.
Yeah, well, you've got the map. You've got the map.
I got the map.
I got a weird
the map.
target. You got a map.
So Europa. Okay. Obviously not to scale, whatever, but you know, there's Mars over there. Somewhere along the way, what were y'all doing for weeks on end? Not talking,
Yeah.
or at least enlist like us staying to do it. Like, if y'all need a mediator, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
We also get Darrow getting to be a helldiver again. If
Yes.
And Lorne, immediately before basically they hit go on the drill, and he's like,
Yes.
"You remember what I said about
this
Pac?"
fucking line. I love this line.
And oh my god, I love it too.
I love it.
And Lorne just goes, "Slag tact, terrify them." And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Every
this
time.
is when like Lauren is on board now.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, he has to be. He has to be.
Well,
Like,
he
no
has to be.
option, right?
He
So-
has to be. He is now enthusiastically on board.
But yeah, exactly. He's on Team
Yeah.
Darrow fully.
Yeah.
And then we get to see how violently Lorne Al Arcos' reputation just rips through this room.
Yes.
It's like Arcos follows him down through the hole, and the whole room goes silent. They're like, I thought he was dead. Like,
well,
nope.
Yeah. You get that, and then the literal threat is you go.
Yeah,
what is
anyone
it,
who
like
comes within 2
2.6
meters of Darrow.
2 meters. If you get
anyone
within
who
2
comes
meters.
within 2 meters of Darrow, I kill
Yeah.
everyone in this room.
Yeah.
Which we
And
see a
one
slightly
person, tries to go after him, and the person next to him, not one of Darrow's party, somebody who is literally sitting next to him, stabs him in the back, and Lauren goes 2.3 meters. Close. It's 2.3.
2.3. This was the point that I stopped listening because I was on my way home to come to this conversation. Just so we're aware.
Right.
This is everything
It's
past. Everything past this.
All good.
I'm
It's
out.
all
I'm
good.
gonna go. My cat's sitting next to me. You guys continue. Yeah.
So we get that, and then Flinny's like,
Oh.
Aja said she killed, or like, Aja said she would kill you on Europa, and Darrow's like, who do you know that can kill me?
Yeah.
Like, all of these people have tried, and he lists them all off.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Nero tried, like the noose tried. In his head,
Yes.
In his
obviously, he doesn't
head, I
list
was
it
gonna
out
say.
loud, but he continues on with it. It's like
Yes.
the
Yes.
pit vipers tried. Like,
Yep.
who do you know? Pliny our Velocitor.
Oh my god. Gormless little shit.
And then he fucking backhands him. Like, just the disrespect. Actually, it may not even be a backhand. It might be a forehand slap.
He just says slap across the face, so it's
Yeah.
not a back. It's not a backhand. That would have. I'm. Oh.
And then
yeah.
I will leave you to your fellows. And
Woo!
they like, he turns his back and they literally kill him instantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't turn back because I know what sound a razor makes when it kills.
I mean, like, what that? I mean, that kind of power in the moment of like Darrow getting to the point, at least here, where he does not have to do his own dirty work, like, and wigs back the entire fleet.
Yeah.
And all he did was drop through the ceiling.
And I think the coolest part about this whole thing is, like, Aja's sister is in the room.
Yes.
Like, Moira is in the room. And she actually grabs somebody by the shoulder and holds them back.
Right.
When Lorne makes his threat. She's like, no.
Right.
Like,
we're
not stopping this.
No. Yeah.
And then, we get, tell everyone who will listen, the Reaper sails for Mars and he calls for an Iron Rain. And then there's a lot, but also not really that much that goes on in the next 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Like, basically, the next chapter is Adrius and Darrow talking about, like, you need to fight differently.
Yeah.
Like, basically, we're recording this. This is going to be.
Yeah.
This is basically going to be like your legend. Like,
that's right. So okay,
I'm going to use my network. Yeah.
So that speech is what I finished on. What, 2 hours ago at this point? An hour, 2.5 hours. So what huge things I took out of it was the use of the holocam and that, like, manipulation that, like, we see in present day, like, up until very, like, last year's, okay, I don't want to get too political, the war that, started recently, where we weren't seeing it anywhere. We don't have that record. They are now using it in the same way that we are seeing that in present day, which is way before Pierce wrote this. But also, so there was that of, like, that manipulation of, like, your glory will be used online, but also your, like, if you disrespect your family, if you fail, it's not going out with your death in the same way that past Iron Reigns and past wars are seeing that. And the other huge thing is the very specific that Darrow gets about do not abuse the low colors. And we need Mars after this. This is not a, like, free-for-all, you get to kill who you want. We are taking Mars for a reason. And we need the abundance of Mars. I don't remember the exact quote. Not the corpse of it. And I just love that, and how he can manipulate to his own agenda this, like, thought process of, let's get the golds on our side, and for a reason of we are doing this to, liberate Mars. And that does not mean that we're going to go into the cities and completely strike them down.
Yeah. There's actually a quote think it's Mustang. That's it takes a day to break a city and 50 years to rebuild it.
Yeah. Do you want to sign up to do the rebuilding?
Yeah, exactly. It's with Proctor Jupiter.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But that speech is just so prominent.
And then before they start to file out to go to war, Darrow apologizes to Roke. Finally.
Right. Or he says it fast enough that Roke can't interrupt him.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a Reaper apology.
Right. I'm trying to. I can't find this quote. I can't remember which chapter exactly it was in. It's somewhere in here.
What quote are you looking for?
So it's the basically Darrow in his own head walking through the plan of we are taking Mars, we're taking the cities so that it's an example to every other world, so that they basically start each tearing themselves apart, and then the sons of Ares kind of rise up through that chaos to be a central rallying point.
Yeah.
I can't find it. I can't remember exactly where it was, but yeah. Again, it's just such a great plan until shit escalates. Anyway, no, I was trying to find that, but yes.
The other thing we kind of skipped over, if you're still trying to find that, is the call to the Iron Rain, and we get all of the not necessarily firstborns, but everyone after that.
All the ones that aren't going to inherit.
Yeah, and this is the first Iron Rain in 20 years, and how excited people are. And when we were talking out of context the other night, huge theme that came up was, again, the World Wars. That World War One, you saw that, especially in Britain, they were excited for the declaration of war.
Yeah.
That you're excited for that, oh my God, I've been training for this. This is what I want. And this is what we're seeing in this Iron Rain, is those kids, those people who were not there for any other Iron Rain, so they want to be a part of it. They are the warmongers, he names them. All of those, in comparison to, let's say, Lorne. I believe this is his 8th Iron Rain, and that's more the vibe of World War II, where it's dear God, we're doing this again. I don't want to. So you're seeing that little bit of the younger generation that is just so excited to be part of it. And they will go through, we get the white, this is the first time we fully see what the whites are doing.
Yep.
And that tradition.
We get the benediction.
Yeah. And then into the,
into the hangar.
Yeah.
Where they're gearing up for war. And Severo's you have to fight. If you win today, you're a god.
Yeah.
And if you do this and then you reveal what you are, you transcend color. And he's here you get what you take, no matter the right of it. And so, if this red, who's been made into a gold, takes Mars, right? And then reveals who he is, that's where it kind of starts, or expands, I guess.
Yeah.
And Darrow's what if it's all a trick? What if Ares isn't real?
Yeah.
And Severo goes, watch this, and he hops up on the railing and howls. and the whole army howls with him. And the Augustus banners drop, and the Reaper banners go up.
Yep.
Like, oh fuck.
Yep.
That's a good moment.
And the note that I have on that is that on Europa, the Howlers are wearing lions. They've got the lion crest on their armor. Now, it's like this has stopped being Nero's fight. Which is just like
yeah.
So
and that's
great.
and remember if it's earlier or if it's after this. I think it's after this. I won't bring it up. Fine.
Okay.
All right. Keep your secrets.
I will.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we get basically 2 chapters of war. Darrow, like, he experiences his first Iron Rain, and he's like, I don't know why I wanted this. This is awful.
This is literally the worst idea I've ever had in my life.
I believe Pierce last week sent a Instagram post that said to always wear a diaper to
Yes.
Yes, that is
to a
Howler
fight.
Rule 19.
To
Always wear a
19.
diaper to a fight.
Yeah. Because of the Iron Rain or whatever other shit they're doing. Yeah.
Literal, yeah.
Indeed.
Well,
literal shit. Literal shit.
Literal shit. Or in Severo's case, they land, they get out of the star shells and everything, and he just immediately vomits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The G forces.
Sure.
Yeah, and actually, and we lose a Howler in that.
We do. We lose our Howler.
So we lose Harpy. Daria the Harpy, just gone.
Yep.
And that's not an original named Howler, but an early Howler.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, we never really got a whole lot.
No, we don't really get much on Harpy.
Seeing how that's last week, one of the ones I forgot to name. When I was trying to name all the Howlers, and I'd forgotten Harpy. Like,
clearly made a big impression.
Yeah, you forgot Harpy, Rotback, and Screwface.
Yeah. I should have remembered Screwface. Should have gotten
well,
that
and
one.
actually, very minor spoiler, Rotback dies in the chapter following the last chapter.
So how am I supposed to remember these people who are named twice?
Fair.
I don't know, I do. Fair.
You've read the books how many times?
Look at me, I'm Crescent. I have an encyclopedic knowledge of Red Rising.
Yeah.
And Community, don't forget.
And Community. He's the Abed, I'm Troy. Explains a lot. He's the Jeff Winger, and I'm Britta. Explains a lot.
Yep.
I have not yet reread.
In the morning.
I have not reread this part, so cut me off if I'm out of line. But we see Mustang is landed with them, which is, I believe, her first. We know she has fought. We know from the Institute and from clearly whatever happened with Pliny that she managed to get away. But this is the first time we actually see her in the fray.
And she gets there with more people and in the right spot.
Yep. We don't really see her fight that much, but she's there.
She's there.
She's leading. She's, kicking ass, basically. But Darrow ends up like 50 kilometers off target on the rain.
Yeah.
And,
wasn't it longer? Wasn't it like 200 kilometers?
No,
that was further.
He's 250 kilometers from where he needs to be, and Mustang is 50 kilometers closer.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then, they're trying to avoid being caught on like radar and stuff, so they're doing like really low skips with their grav boots.
This is where we get like how fast they... Because I'm thinking in my head, so 250 kilometers, that's like me to Kingston. That means nothing to anybody watching. But Toronto to Kingston is 250 kilometers.
Yeah, it's like if you're driving on our highways or your interstates, or, you know, that equivalent.
2.5 hours.
You know,
Toronto to Kingston. I want to see where Kingston is. This is what I do. I look up maps.
Everybody look up Toronto to Kingston. That is 250 because it takes
you. So you're like, it's like halfway to Montreal. It's like halfway to Montreal, basically.
Halfway to Montreal. Correct. That is a way better assessment.
It's not a short distance.
It is not.
64 miles,
and
but that would be
like, seems like immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're fast, and they're like outrunning like the torch ships, the Wasps, the like all the different like aircraft, and they're able to take time out of running to just like, oh, I'm gonna casually go up this mountain to take out this missile encampment.
Yeah.
I'll meet you back down here, and it's just like, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's impressive.
And then, so we, at the very end of our section here,
wait, before we get to that, we have another, the end of 38, the twist that happens at the end of that chapter, which also,
oh yes, that's right. So Darrow all of a sudden starts getting called by Roke. And, you know, he can't hear him because of the storm. So he has to jet up on his grav boots above a literal thunderstorm. And we find out that the Sovereign is in Aegea. Roke is like, we found Praetorians, you know, and Darrow's like, I know. That's why I let Aja go.
Yeah.
And she's why I want Aegea.
Yeah.
And it's just like another little dagger into Roke there.
That's got to be the last one.
Another thing I never told him.
Yeah. Which he also does say then, you know, so then the beginning of 39 is that like, you know, I didn't tell anybody but Mustang, the Jackal, and Severo, and I couldn't risk it spreading, especially with how Roke's been acting. Again,
yep,
valid, because Roke has been acting like a little shit, increasingly so.
Yep.
And also, y'all had a long time to your come to Jesus moment. Also, like, my opinion here is that Darrow should not have said, I already know. He should have just been like, okay, copy that. And then
copy. I'm exposed out here. Like, I gotta go.
Right. Like, copy that, and like, you know, and then like, I don't know, almost made like a little bit of a show of like Mustang, Mustang, we gotta change the plan.
Yeah.
Change the plan, and like just like gone with it, and then had that conversation after.
Yeah.
Because then like Roke hangs up on him.
There's a lot of choices Darrow should have probably taken the other choice on, but
it's
what it is.
It is what it is. But also but yeah, he just like stops talking to Darrow then, and like it's just like pissed. But it's also like, dude, you're you even said like Roke is the youngest Imperator in decades. Like Roke, you still have your job to do. Finish the battle up in space.
Yep.
Do your job, and then we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then immediately following that, we're going to breach the walls of Aegea.
Yeah.
And we find out that the Sons of Ares have been working in the night, and they open up a path under the walls. And we come out, and Darrow stops Severo from killing a small child, and it's the worst decision he ever made.
Basically.
And
then we all start dying.
There's an EMP, and at the end of our chapters, that's when we all begin to die.
Yep.
Happy times.
This is where I go and write. This is where I go write a paper.
If everyone's listening, please sign up for therapy. It'd be great.
Yes,
there is therapy on Earth as much as there is not in space. And just a reminder that if you are a member of the Den, we do put all of the suicide hotlines in the Jackal's box. So go check those out, please, because that's where we're at with all of this.
We can probably find a Groupon.
Of therapy? A Groupon of therapy? I'm still trying to convince... I shouldn't say trying to convince. I have not yet brought it up with my therapist, but I keep making the joke that I'm going to make my therapist read all of these so that I'm prepped for Lightbringer. I should probably bring that up next week so she can actually get us started on that.
Adequate time. Well, because your therapist is also going to need a therapist then to catch up, so that your therapist is stable enough to offer you care. Because you can't take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself.
100%. I am well aware that my therapist is in therapy, so I just need to make sure that
you gotta get to the final boss of therapy.
Yeah.
But we're nearing 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we are.
Oh my god, this is our longest one.
So
we took a 5-minute break, but
it's the longest section. So
it is the longest section. This was the longest.
It is, yeah.
It's fair.
But so we kind of need to wrap it up for the night. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this ridiculously long section of Golden Sun.
If you made it this far, hold on. If you made it this far in listening, please put we need a code word and just comment in therapy. Please.
Is that too easy?
Just comment therapy.
Is that too easy?
No, because I feel like everyone else would be like, yeah, they're talking about it. Why do you keep commenting?
Okay,
so comment therapy if you made it this far, and huge kudos to you.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Rocket. It's been fantastic.
Thank you very much, Rocket.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for staying on the point. We only have brief things I have to edit out. We are great.
Yep. Excellent. And we're not recording 2 days before we go live.
Thank God.
So that should make things so much easier.
Oh my God.
That'll be good.
But anyway.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Cheers, everybody.
Okay. I'm off.